History is filled with battles won and lost. But what about the battles that simply vanished? Tonight, we delve into one of history's most chilling mysteries. Imagine an entire legion of soldiers, thousands strong, marching into the fading light, fully armed and ready for a confrontation that would define an era. They were seen cresting a hill against the sunset, a formidable, disciplined force, and then nothing. They marched into the night and never returned. No scouts ever found their trail. No enemy claimed victory over them. No bodies were ever recovered. It's as if the earth itself swallowed them whole. This is the story the history books never told. A ghostly disappearance that defies all explanation. What happened to the Lost Legion? Join me as we uncover the clues. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into the unknown. It was the winter of 1777. Snow blankets the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, and a ghost of an army. The American army, tired, starving, and with many nearly barefoots, stumbles into a place that will forever be etched in the memory of a nation, Valley Forge. When we think of history, our minds often jump to the grand moments, the thunder of cannons, the glorious victories, the larger-than-life heroes on horseback. But the story of Valley Forge, well, that's a different kind of story. It's one of quiet, agonizing endurance. There were no victory parades here, no triumphant music, no bright flags snapping in the wind. There were just men. Men who were farmers, blacksmiths, merchants, and boys who had barely seen a whisker on their chin, all desperately trying to survive a brutal, unforgiving cold. The war for independence had already dragged on for 2 grueling years. Morale was low, and resources were even lower. The Continental Congress, the fledgling government, struggled to supply its own army. Food was a constant, gnawing scarcity. Imagine soldiers celebrating a Thanksgiving meal that consisted of nothing more than a few spoonfuls of rice and a little vinegar. Shoes for thousands, that was a distant memory. They wrapped their feet in tattered rags, leaving bloody footprints in the snow as they patrolled the frozen perimeter. Crimson trail marking their silent suffering. It's a gut-wrenching image, but it's the reality they faced. And yet they stayed. They didn't break. They didn't desert en masse. Why? A huge part of the answer lies in their leader, General George Washington. He wasn't a distant commander, issuing orders from a warm, comfortable manor. No, he was there, in the thick of it. He walked among his men every single day. He saw the frostbite. He heard the coughs that echoed through the crude huts. He felt the despair that hung in the frozen air. He shared their fears, their hunger, and, most importantly, their flickering hope. He famously wrote letters, pleading, almost begging for supplies, describing his men's condition with raw emotion. He prayed, not for a swift, glorious triumph, but for the simple strength to endure, to keep the dream of a new nation alive through the darkest of winters. And then, in the midst of all this suffering, something truly remarkable began to happen. A former Prussian officer, Baron Friedrich von Steuben, arrived at the camp. He didn't speak a word of English, but he spoke the universal language of discipline and order. With Washington's blessing, von Steuben took this ragtag collection of starving men and began to forge them into a professional fighting force. He drilled them relentlessly, day after day, in the freezing cold. He taught them how to march in formation, how to use their bayonets effectively, how to function not as individuals, but as a single, cohesive unit. It was grueling, repetitive work, but it gave the men a sense of purpose beyond just surviving another day. From that shared hardship, a new kind of unity was born. The army that had staggered into Valley Forge was being reborn in a crucible of ice and fire. By the time the first thaws of spring arrived in 1778, the transformation was astonishing. The men were still thin, their uniforms were still patched, but their eyes held a new light. They marched out of Valley Forge, not as a broken mob, but as a disciplined army. They were stronger, more resilient, and more united than ever before. They were ready to face the might of the British Empire once again. Most of the soldiers who endured that winter at Valley Forge never became famous. You won't find most of their names in our history textbooks. They were the anonymous, the forgotten, the everyday heroes who carried the immense weight of a nation's dream on their frozen shoulders. They were the ones who paid the price for the ideals we now hold dear. So, the next time you think about the founding of America, don't just picture the signing of declarations or the clash of armies. Remember the silence of Valley Forge. Remember the sound of the wind whistling through the log huts, the quiet determination of men huddled around a meager fire, and the bloody footprints in the snow. Because freedom wasn't just won on the glorious battlefields. It was kept alive through sheer force of will in the grim, silent endurance of that long winter. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more journeys into the past. We'll see you in the next one.